Welcome back, everybody. Here's the schedule for tomorrow. The round of 16 begins. Netherlands taking on USA. Pulisic ready to go, having himself quite a good laugh at his press conferences. People trying to figure out what exactly he injured. But he's good to go. We're not talking about it anymore. Argentina.
Draw us a picture, Andy.
Australia.
Draw us a picture.
Listen, my artistic skills are strictly shared with those of you behind the scenes. But let's put it this way. A lot of people were wondering, hey, what's going on over there? And he clarified that it was more of a lower abdominal bone kind of issue because people were concerned. We were concerned that he's good to go. And he himself had a good laugh about it. But let's begin, KJ, with USA Netherlands. Our boy Ollie, who's not here today, is not that high on the Netherlands. He just he just thinks that given the legacy and the history of this team, they're not exactly playing inspiring football. You have the USA who's been making a ton of chances, but haven't really been prolific in finding the back of the net. What are you expecting?
I like the Americans a lot because of their toughness. They're really mentally tough. They look like a really united group. Midfield, they keep winning midfield battles. They cause a big problem for England, and that England are better than the Dutch. So you're right, and Ollie's right again as usual. They're uninspiring, and the most inspiring thing about them is Louis van Gaal's press conferences. So when they get on the pitch, they're absolutely dull. Now they could go out and beat the Americans, but they've been awful to watch so far. And I like the chances that Greg Berhalter's team's got here. I really do. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be I don't think there's going to be a ton of goals in it. But if the U.S. can get that one goal, I like the way that they played without the ball, depending on how long McKennie can go. But the other thing is Weah's had a great World Cup, a lot of pace, and that will be a problem as well against a very good Dutch back line. So can't wait to go there. I'll be there. I'm really looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to take the Netherlands? I'll take the Netherlands. I'll defend my boy Louis van Gaal here. I'm just not sure.
Do it.
Pulisic is going to be good to play, to be honest with you. McKennie certainly can't play 90 minutes. I've seen enough of the Netherlands in major competitions to know that this team regularly takes it to extra time and oftentimes penalties. And with a great defensive team, a team with great defensive shape, I question how the United States are actually going to break them down. This side has moved on past the round of 16 in every World Cup they played in over the last 80 plus years. 80 plus years. They haven't lost under Louis van Gaal in 18 games he's been manager. And van Gaal in the World Cup, his Dutch sides haven't lost in 90 minutes in a World Cup game in 10 straight times. The Dutch are difficult to beat. They're boring to watch. That's fine, but they're difficult to beat. I'm just not sure the U.S. has enough.
Argentina taking on Australia. Give me one, maybe you have multiple reasons, Jordan, as to why Argentina will be the one to advance to the quarterfinal.
Outside the obvious, Lionel Messi, I'll say this is the best Argentinian side I've ever seen. They look dangerous going forward, and they're starting to be the team that we've talked about before the tournament, like playing with urgency and having different guys that can hurt you. I just think they're winning this game as well. No disrespect to the Aussies, but they can only play one way, which is counterattack football and sitting guys behind the ball. Messi and company will break you down, whether it be in 90 minutes or 120. So for me, it's a no-brainer of who's winning that match.
If Australia were
Go on, KJ.
to upset them,
Go on.
KJ, if they were to upset them, would that be more shocking than Saudi Arabia beating them? What are the chances the Socceroos can do this?
Very, very slim. They say in football, sometimes 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 times the team will beat them. You always get that one. I think it might be 99 out of 100 in this one, but I guess 1 out of 100 they've got a shot. I think it would be a bigger shot than Saudi Arabia because it's a knockout game. So the only chance they've got really is from a set piece or an early goal where they can start to really put them under pressure. As I said, the one thing to go against Argentina is that when things do not go their way, it is an absolute crisis right away. So if somehow the Aussies can get a goal and then suddenly the pressure turns on, the wick goes up big time pressure in the crowd. So that could be the only chance, but I'm struggling to think, and I love this tournament and these World Cups, I'm struggling to think of a last 16 game where I felt so certain. It's so one-sided in the last few years of this one.
Yeah. Well, here's what's coming up on Sunday. The round of 16 matchups has France taking on Poland in the early match, and then later on it'll be England versus Senegal. And there's always pressure, KJ, on England. And that's also because of past performances. They have looked good. They really looked good in 2018. They obviously went to the final at the European Championship. What gives you belief that they can move on to the quarterfinal?
Well, Phil Foden's playing, so that gives me a lot of belief because he's class and he needs to play more. So I think that's a big factor. Southgate stumbled on players here who are in tremendous form, and there's no longer reliant on Harry Kane. And that's really important. Kane, I still think has got goals in him in this tournament, but he hasn't carried the team like in 2018. They're way more of a team now. No much more of an emphasis on Kane, even in the Euros, just over a year ago. So, it doesn't matter whether it's, Saka or Sterling coming off the bench, or Foden and Rashford. They've got players in the final third that can make a difference and can open teams up here. So I think they had their once, that boring game against the US. That was a stalemate and didn't mean as much. And I think they found their 11 now that will go forward in the knockout stages. I said before, I think Senegal are a difficult team. They're a threat. But I do think they play a lot. I don't think they play traditionally like an African team. I think they play a lot more like an English team. And I think that will suit England.
There's only one Phil Foden. Wheels.
Maybe. Unless Gareth Southgate picks the wrong team, which I wouldn't put it past him, makes changes too late, wouldn't put it past him. Are England ready for a fight here? Because that's what Senegal's going to bring to the table. I understand no Idrissa Gueye, no Cheick Kouyaté, both players unavailable. Idrissa Gueye through suspension. But Senegal, they're fighters. This side know what it takes to win. They won the African Cup of Nations last time around. They had to beat Egypt over 2 legs, another very good side to even qualify for the World Cup. I know they've conceded a goal in every game here, but they're robust defensively. They have a Premier League goalkeeper, a very good one, best goalkeeper in the world last year, and CanMNT. Koulibaly's excellent at set pieces. A lot of familiarity with the English players as well, with a lot of English-based players in the Senegal side. If the game gets so slow, which I predict it will, I'm not sure who that favors. I think England needs to play with tempo here, but they don't oftentimes do that. So it depends what version of England shows up.
France versus Poland. A lot of people didn't think France would get out of the group. The curse of winning the World Cup and how the previous, since Italy had won it in 2006, not getting out of your group after that, but also because of all the injuries that they were coming into this World Cup with. But they do advance, and they're taking on Poland, whose goalkeeper has been outstanding, Jordan. But, can France get past them? Give me a reason why they are not intimidated by Poland's goalkeeper.
Szczesny's been the goalkeeper of the tournament, but I'm sorry to say, Andy, that he's getting lit up when France take the field.
No.
Griezmann, Mbappe, Giroud, and Dembele. Those are my reasons why France are going through. The offensive chemistry between these four, they're so good they can go all the way. Now, the deficiency lies in what it looks like when they're tested in the midfield and when they're tested with players running at their back four. They're not the same France team that won the World Cup 4 years ago. And maybe that's the only Achilles heel, but you could expect this French team to go and score goals. It's just if they're able to defend.
Mm-hmm.
Very difficult to make a case for a side that hasn't beat France in 40 years and has had 5 shots on target this entire tournament. But I will say this, they had 4 clean sheets before their last game against Argentina, and they were difficult to play at times over the course of that game. When you have Lewandowski in the team and you have a goalkeeper like Szczesny, they're going to have a chance. They're going to have to park the bus. They're not going to have to do anything different. They're going to have to defend, hit, and hope. That's their only way forward here, and hope that playing European competition, I do think it's favorable that they're playing European competition rather than a team from another continent. Perhaps that will play a little bit into their advantage here. France has been vulnerable to an upset over the last year. It'll take something here in this game for Poland to persevere, but it's not impossible.
Here's a look at Monday's schedule in this round of 16 matchup. It's Japan taking on Croatia. Brazil will face South Korea. We just discussed the Koreans and their great game today in order to move on to the round of 16. So let's begin. How about we start with the Brazil and Korea, KJ, first? And give me a reason why Brazil, is a team that maybe you continue to believe will be the team to go all the way to the final.
It's going to be tough.
I'll take Vinicius Jr. because I don't think people are talking about him enough, and he didn't play today, I don't think. So I think he could come back in, and as I said earlier in the tournament, there's going to be games where this guy's going to win it on his own. He's got so much potential that I think one day he could be the world's greatest player. He's just got everything about him, and he's so powerful. I wrote today, as I did a little bit of a team of the tournament so far, players I've seen. In the dribble, he's one of those where he's like a superhero, where he's so powerful, you expect the ground to just fall away as he goes by. He's just so powerful, and I think that South Korea are going to really struggle with that. Look, there's a lot of things for Brazil to be the reason why they're going to win this game. I'm just picking one of many. But yeah, this much like Argentina versus Australia, I think will be very comfortable for them.
Nah, but Jordan, you're not allowed. No cop-outs here. You have to make a case for Korea here and a reason why you think they can move on.
You know me well, Andy. I don't cop out. I'm going to say Sun. And I'm going to say every single one of those Koreans that fight, like that has to be accounted for something. Today, seeing the visuals of them crying and what it means to them to make it to round of 16, I'm going to say that's the reason. They play great football. As Will said, they have legs for days. They fight to the bitter end. And when you have a superstar that humbles himself and works hard as the hardest working player for the team, it permeates. It's infectious. So I'll say that's the reason why they could have a chance against my pick to Brazil.
That hurt you just a little bit, though, because Brazil is your pick. Japan, Croatia. Give me a reason, Wheels, for Japan.
I like Japan. I think they can beat Croatia here, which I don't think would be that much of an upset. This team has lulled both Spain and Germany into a false sense of security. John Herdman said this before their warm-up match against Japan, that they have some of the most intricate and intelligent pressing techniques that he has seen, and their ability to strike and their fearlessness in attack makes them a difficult team to play against. Croatia won't fancy this because it's going to force them out of their comfort zone. Croatia were downright poor against Morocco. We're obviously good against Canada. And if Romelu Lukaku could have finished his breakfast, then Croatia would have been out of this tournament. I think they're very fortunate to be here right now. Alongside with really liking what Japan's done against those two superior European opponents to me, Croatia, remember, en route to the 2018 final, how safe and conservative they play come the knockout round of competitions. In 2018, they went to penalties against Denmark, went to penalties against Russia, took them extra time to beat England. I think it was like a 109th minute goal there before being played off the field against France. So if Croatia comes out and plays safe that way and guarded and conservative, I think they're asking for trouble against this Japanese team that you hope learned their lesson from maybe taking their foot off the gas a little bit against Belgium in 2018, conceding those 3 goals late that dumped them out of the competition. This Japanese team is definitely good enough to win this game.
Make a case for Croatia, though, KJ.
I agree with everything Will says. The thing about Japan is they don't give presents. They don't give mistakes up. And that's why they can come on the right end of things when they don't have a lot of possession. But if Croatia play at the highest level that they can play, they will win. If they can get that midfield going, Kamada's a special player, by the way, for Japan. You got to stay away from him. But when Croatia are at their best is when their midfielders, and we've got our own star midfielder on the show, he knows what I'm going to talk about, is when their midfielders receive the ball on the turn and can get away from the players who press them immediately and get into space. That's the way that they're going to be effective, because they don't have tons of pace in the front three. So they've got to be able to drive the ball forward and then feed the front three. They cannot allow the front three to create that space by pinning them back with the runs, and then suddenly the defense drops because of them. So that's what it's going to have to be. As usual, Modric, Kramaric is going to get fed by Modric, Kovacic, and Brozovic. And if them three have the game that they need to have again, they'll win the game because they're too good for Japan.
Well, by the end of the day, Tuesday, gentlemen, we're going to know what the quarterfinals will look like, because these are the final round of 16 games. Morocco taking on Spain, followed by Portugal and Switzerland. So let's begin here with Portugal, Jordan. I'm going to give you an easy one, and why you think they have a chance of advancing over Switzerland.
Sorry, Andy. What's your question? Portugal?
Yeah, I mean, you recognize that guy, right?
So now I can. Sorry, I had a moment, guys. Cristiano Ronaldo is not even going to be in my talk. I'm going to talk about the midfield with Bruno Fernandes, Neves, and Bernardo Silva. These guys. This is a three that will provide obviously balls into the box. But out of the last 5 goals for Portugal, I'm not even counting the little flick that he's claiming Ronaldo. It's other guys in Portugal that are putting in a shift. This is the reason why I think they could actually go far in this tournament. It's just who they meet, right? We don't really know that. But I'm going to say out of their midfield 3 is one of the best I've seen in this tournament.
You were still basking in the compliment of KJ, saying, look, we have a great midfielder on our show, and you're still doing this.
Yeah.
You don't even hear my question.
Barry
You don't know
Horowitz.
what you were doing. Yeah.
KJ knows, man. KJ knows.
Well, KJ's going to counter you right now, and you're going to tell me why the Swiss are going to move through.
Intelligent game managers who won't give away many chances. And they'll love the fact that they're underdogs coming into this game. They are the perfect team to allow everyone to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. The whole crowd will all be over it. Oh, and by the way, I'm sure anybody who's there will get an announcement. A player to watch as being Cristiano Ronaldo. I've heard it 3 times now. The player to watch is Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, guess who doesn't care about that? This lot. They're happy if you make it about Ronaldo and Portugal because they're happy to be the underdogs. It will suit them absolutely fine. And if they make it a nasty, boring game, they can definitely come out on the end of it because they don't give away many chances.
This one could be tight, Morocco and Spain, just because the way both of them have been playing. So, Wheels, you got to tell me, give me a reason why Morocco can beat Spain.
Yeah, I'll take both sides here because I know we're tight for time. These 2 sides played in 2018 to a 2-2 draw, and Spain needed a late goal to come away with a point in the final match of that. Morocco is buoyed by incredible support. KJ was in the stadium. I think it matters. I think that Amrabat in a physical Moroccan midfield caused problems. It's an experienced and high quality back 4 that I think Spain, like their biggest question is, when they're not playing a minnow like Costa Rica, whether they can just take over games and provide the requisite scoring. Who is that, Morata? Or are you relying on young players, Pedri and Gavi, to go in there and have a big influence on a game where you're playing against a team with all kinds of experience in it? I think that this game can go either way. It's a true pick 'em for me. 2 teams familiar with one another, 2 teams with all kinds of quality as well. This is going to be an intriguing matchup, and I think both teams will be fearless and try to come out and attack in this game as well.